Funding is one of the biggest reasons people hesitate on franchise ownership. They assume, I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting around, and they stop before they even explore options. But here's the truth. You don't need to fund your franchise entirely out of pocket. The smartest franchise owners have multiple funding sources to make it happen. In this video, I'm going to break down funding into 4 steps that you can start to wrap your head around that makes the most sense for you. But just like when we're buying a home, the first step isn't choosing a loan, it's figuring out what you can afford. So step 1 is really understanding what you can afford. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people mentally committing to a franchise before they've committed to meet the financial requirements. Just like I did, franchisors will ask you 2 key questions up front. What's your net worth? How much liquid capital do you have? If you're planning to take out a loan, you need the baseline to understand what you can afford. A minimal rule of thumb, take your liquid capital and multiply it by 3. For example, if you have $150,000 in liquid capital, you can likely afford a $450,000 investment with financing. If you start to look at a $700,000 brand when you can only qualify for $400,000, you're really wasting valuable time. Step 2. Know your true investment level. When you review the franchise disclosure document, or FDD, provided to you by the brand, Item 7 will outline a range of upfront costs. Too many franchise buyers assume they'll land on the low end of the investment range. I see folks all the time who say, I have a buddy who can do the build out for cheap, or I live in a market where things cost less. So if a franchise states the investment is $150,000 to $450,000, they think, I can probably make this work for $150,000. Big mistake. Most franchises land closer to the average, meaning the same brand is more likely to be a $300,000 investment. And again, if you're more conservative, play it safe and plan for the high end so you're not undercapitalized before you even open your doors. Working capital is also another part that needs to be added into this figure. Step 3, explore your funding options. Now that you have a realistic investment target, it's time to explore how to fund it. Here are the 4 most common options franchise owners use. 1 is the SBA loan. This is the most well-known way to fund a franchise, but there's a catch. The SBA actually isn't lending you the money. Instead, they guarantee loans through banks, which makes the lender more comfortable for approving franchise buyers. Here's the benefit. You get longer payment terms, lower interest rates, and a much better chance of securing funding than if you just walked into a bank on your own. But SBA loans don't just hand out the money. You'll typically need at least 30% of the loan amount as a down payment. While the rates are great, the process can take months, meaning not launching your business for quite some time. 2, 401k rollovers. Next up is an option a lot of people don't even realize they can do. You can use your 401k or other retirement funds to invest in a franchise without any penalties or taxes. Think of the 401k rollover as a plan that's going to shift your investments from stocks to investing in yourself and your new business. This means you don't have to take on debt. You don't need to pay interest on the money. You can also resume contributions to your 401k once your business begins generating profit. This is a major tax advantage. The downside, well, if your business doesn't succeed, you're dipping into your retirement savings, and no one wants to do that. That's why it's crucial to work with an expert to make sure everything stays IRS compliant and that you're investing in a franchise with real potential. 3, the HELOC, or the home equity line of credit. This is a great option if you're a homeowner. This is when you borrow against the equity in the value of your house as collateral to get cash for your business. The good news, interest rates are typically lower than business loans and even SBA loans. Repayment terms are longer. Approval is usually easier if you have strong equity. The obvious risk? Your house is on the line. Defaulting on the loan could mean losing your home, which is why this option makes the most sense for people who have a solid financial plan for repayment and strong franchise model to back it up. The last option, a securities-backed loan. With a securities-backed loan, also known as a margin loan or a portfolio loan, you can borrow against stocks and bonds instead of selling them. The loan amount typically is a percentage of the value of the securities in the portfolio. These loans often comes with lower interest rates compared to unsecured loans, but if your portfolio drops in value, you may need to repay more to prevent liquidation. Step 4. Let's build your funding strategy. Determining your funding source might seem like a lot, But here's the beauty of working with an experienced Better Days franchise advisor. We can help you find the best funding options based on your specific circumstances. Let's take my client Sarah. Sarah found her dream franchise, a dog daycare with a $450,000 investment. So she had some savings but needed a strategy to cover a full investment while keeping her risk in check. Here's how we structured her funding. We got a $250,000 SBA loan that covered the majority. We had got $100,000 from her 401k using a ROBS, or rollover for business startup program. We got $100,000 for a home equity line of credit, which provided the extra working capital for marketing. And by combining multiple investment sources, Sarah was able to spread her risk out, secure the lower interest rates, keep strong financial flexibility, and fully fund her franchise without draining her savings. So to recap, first, let's do the simple math to determine what you can realistically afford. To be safe, base the funding strategy on the high end of the investment range. Then we start considering which funding options make the most sense for you. Once you have a rough idea, let's connect, map out the best path forward. We'll break down specific situations for you, get a strategy, secure funding, and we'll make franchise ownership happen. So don't let financing be the thing that stops you. There's always a way forward. Let's find yours.